Hey kids, Mr. Carey here. Today we are going to begin our journey in third grade math, and we're going to start doing what we're doing. So today is going to be the very beginning of multiplication. And so basically what we have to understand today is just a few concepts. You don't actually have to be able to do the skip counts and anything like that just yet. It's just more about the big ideas of what multiplication is. So I think that's a good place to start. So I want you to think about this. Well, what is adding? Adding is like putting two numbers or three numbers together. We're putting numbers together to get a total. What is subtraction? Subtraction is when we take two numbers and we're taking those numbers and taking them apart. So multiplication, your whole life, you've probably looked up forward. If you're a math lover like me, you've probably thought about multiplication and you're like, I wonder what multiplication is going to be like. Or if you have a big brother or sister and you're like, whoa, you can multiply, that's so cool. Well, totally. And actually multiplication is actually not that hard. It's actually pretty simple once you understand what it is. So before we start worrying about multiplication, we got to start thinking about, well, what is multiplication? So multiplication is when you count by the same number over and over and over again. That's why they call it times. So if you had to do like 3 times 5, 3 times 5 means like 3 fives or 3 groups of 5. So you count by 5 3 times, like 5, 10, 15. That's it. Or if I had to do like 4 times 10, it means like 4 tens or 4 groups of 10. So it's like 10, 20, 30, 40. 4 times 10 is 40. But enough about that. So the things you need to know about multiplication is you have to count by equal groups, okay? If the groups are not equal, it's not multiplication. That's like rule number 1. So we're going to use some terms, and you're going to learn a few new words today, and don't worry if you totally get them. We just want you to totally get it, kind of get it today. And if you kind of get it today, when we do tomorrow's lesson, it will start to become more and more obvious and you're going to kind of get it. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the same thing a bunch of different ways today. Okay, so check this out. The first thing we need to know is what are equal groups. So equal groups are groups that have the same number. Like if it's 5s, it has to be 5, 5, 5. It can't be 5, 5, 4, because that's not an equal group, or 5, 5, 2, because that's not an equal group. It has to be all the same numbers. So it could be 4, 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay? Now, we're going to be talking about something called repeated addition. Repeated addition is when you add the same number several times. For example, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 8. That is repeated addition because we're adding 2's 4 times. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8. Or like 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. If we had 3 5's, they're all the same number. 5, 5, 5, so it's 3 5's. 5 plus 5 plus 5, or 5, 10, 15. Okay? Now, probably the most important thing you're going to hear for a while in math here is groups of. Groups of means when you count by equal groups. For example, do you see here? Check this out. So I have, let's count. I have 1, 2, 3 groups. 1, 2, 3 groups of how many are in each group? 1, 2. So I have 3 groups of 2. 1, 2, 3 groups, 2 in each group. Or check this out. How many? Sometimes you'll see it with circles. Or maybe they do it in like a number sentence or a number bond or a tape diagram like this. Okay, so check it out. I have fives, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 groups with 5 in each group. That's what we call groups of. Now, groups of is words that I like to use for multiplication. So, for example, let's look at this one, and I'll show you everything you're going to have to do for today's work. So you see a picture, right? And it says blank groups of blank. So how many groups do I have? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. And how many are in each group? You can see they're all equal groups, right? And each group has 3. So I have 4 groups of 3. Or if I was doing repeated addition, I have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. And how many is that? Well, it's 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3, 7, 8, 9, plus 3, 10, 11, 12. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12. So now check this out. I have our first multiplication problem of the year. What? Check it out. Blank times blank. You know I was saying groups of, so watch. Groups of. I have 4 groups of 3. I have 4. That means like the number of groups is the first number. Times, kind of means like groups of 3. And that's how many are in each group. So the number of groups is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second number is how many are in each group, 3. So 4 groups of 3 is, and guess what? 4 groups of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12. 4 groups of 3 is 12, which is the total. Okay? So what's going to happen is don't worry about skip counting. Just count them for now. I'm going to teach you guys the skip counts later in the week or maybe next week. Okay? And that's the easy stuff. So don't worry about that. All you need to know about is groups of, repeated addition, and then how to write a multiplication sentence like 4 times 3. So the first number is how many groups. The second number is how many in each group. And your answer is the total. Okay? So let me show you a couple more examples. Say I had to do 3 times 5. Well, what does 3 times 5 mean? Say it with me. It's 3 groups of 5, right? What does 3 times 5 look like? Well, look, 3 groups with 5 in each group. And then I can say, okay, repeated addition. So I'm just adding 3 5s. 3 groups of 5. 3 5s. So it's 5 plus 5 plus 5. It has to be the same number. Multiplication, right, sentence. 3 groups of 5. So what is 3 groups of 5? Well, let's count by 5 3 times. 5, 10, 15. 3 groups of 5 is 15. 3 5s, 15. 5 plus 5 plus 5, guess what? 15. 3 times 5, yep, you guessed it, 15. 5, 5, 5, 3 5s, okay? So let's do 6 times 2. 6 groups of 2. Right? 6 times 2. 6 groups of 2. So I have 6 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups with 2 in each group. Do I have 6 groups of 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups with 2 in each group. Addition sentence, repeated addition. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Or 6 times 2. So you could add all those up, but since you're doing multiplication, really, just skip count. Let's skip count by 2. So what is 6 twos? Let's count by 2's 6 times. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 6 times 2 is 12. Count by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Count by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 6 groups of 2 would also be 12. Cool, so check out the video. On your math link, there's going to be a video from Envisions. It's called Visual Learning. That should help. And then there's a little quick online little assessment you're going to take, and every day you'll check. You'll get a little score. I'll see how you're doing. Do the best you can on that. All right? I'll see you guys a little later in the day.